So this happened. Despite my issues with Hero of Tomorrow, I'm taking part in Red Ribbon Reviewers this month to help awareness of HIV and AIDS, so that even the infected can have a good holiday season. This month I'll be reviewing one of my favorite video game franchises, Mega Man X. To say that I haven't talked about this series is like saying I don't do enough Pokemon videos, because next to Pokemon, I talk a lot about this series. Mainly due to X4, but yeah. So this month, I will review the SNES trilogy, and maybe X4 and 6 at some point, though it's no guarantee. For those that don't know, Mega Man X is the sequel to the Mega Man series on the NES, now known as Classic Mega Man, that takes place 100 years later in the far-off distant future. At this point, a doctor by the name of Dr. Kane finds X and uses him to create a series of robots more advanced called Reploids, who are basically robots with human emotions. Now that we got the summary out of the way, it's time to dive into Mega Man 10. I mean Mega Man X! God! So as the game begins, you're thrown into the opening level of the game to get used to the controls. If you played Mega Man on the NES, then X controls similar to that. I never really had any issues with the controls or it causing me many deaths, so I consider it good. But X is not a complete copy of his ancestor. He has a few key differences. One of them being that he can't slide. But considering how the levels are designed, the slide would be useless even if it was in this game. Like his ancestor, X can charge his Buster, now known as the X-Buster. But unlike his ancestor, it's much stronger than before. It's not God-modded, but it's reasonably balanced power. After beating the first of two mini-bosses, you fall with it to the bottom of the floor. Well, great, I don't have Usher beat, so that was a quick game. Wait, what? That's right, X can kick the walls to get out of spots like this. This is one of my favorite innovations to this series. This has saved me from so many deaths via pits, it's not even funny. I guess while Dr. Light was designing X, he visited Samus Aran, stole her DNA without looking, and put it into X. What? A man can dream, and hey, we got this. So why can't we have a Mega Man and Metroid crossover? Hey, get up in Capcom! But back to the story. After getting to the end of the level, you encounter a Power Ranger? Actually, no. His name is Vile, a war machine designed by Kane and is a former member of the Maverick Hunters before turning Maverick and going crazy. But holy Tartarus is he hard! This is one of those scripted losing scenes, but the game doesn't tell you that. Lovely. So X gets captured and berated by Vile on how weak he is until Goldilocks and the blonde hair shows up and makes Vile retreat. This is Zero, a friend of Mega Man X, and that's all we really know about him for this game. Fun fact, this was going to be the original design of X, but Capcom refused this and decided with the current design of X. So it's ironic that they allowed this design for the Zero series, but I digress. So Zero tells X that he's not perfect yet, and tells you to piss off and kill 8 Mavericks while he goes to look for Sigma. Sigma is the first Reploid made by Dr. Kane, and was considered the ultimate Reploid. What happens afterward is in Maverick Hunter X's Day of Sigma film, but I haven't played Maverick Hunter X yet. Hey, I don't own a PSP, and I'm not a big fan of RPGs, so I wouldn't see a reason to get it. I've seen Day of Sigma, I just haven't played the game. So that says a review. So all we really know here is that he's the bad guy, you're the good guy, now go kick his ass. Nothing new if you've played the Mega Man Classic series. On to the Mavericks, and for this game, I like them, even the ones that aren't impressive. I enjoy their level design for the most part. The fights with the Mavericks are good, especially Storm Eagle for his unique attacks, and Sting Chameleon for his disappearance attack. And the weapons you get are very balanced and useful to use. If only it went uphill from here. Also new to this game are certain effects. If you go to a Maverick before the next Maverick, certain parts of that stage will change. Example, if you go to Chill Penguin first and beat him, like I normally do, Flame Mammoth stage will no longer have flames on the ground. By the way, did I mention the music? No? Well, shit, it's time to talk about it. Going to the NES did a fantastic job to the soundtrack. I love every song in this game. The beats are catchy, the songs are very memorable, such as Storm Eagle and Sigma's, and I only wish I had the soundtrack to listen to. Oh well, there's always YouTube. As for the graphics, once again, another upgrade by moving to a more advanced system. The graphics are great for a Super Nintendo game. I like the sprite work, backgrounds and effects, and unlike the NES games, there's barely if any sprite flickering. Thank God, because that sprite flickering was a major annoyance if you played classic Mega Man. X can't shoot in 8 directions, similar to his ancestor, but he does come with a trump card. In-game upgrades! Hidden throughout the levels, you can find Dr. Light capsules, and you can get upgrades, such as a headbutt, increased defenses, dashing, which becomes permanent for the rest of the series, and an upgraded Mega Buster, plus upgradable special weapons. So on top of the regular weapons you get from the Mavericks, you can charge them up like the X-Buster for some sick effects. One of my favorites is Sting Chameleons because it turns you into a light bright. Light bright, burning out your retinas tonight. Like the previous series, you can use these weapons to get goodies, like extra lives, and use it to defeat other Mavericks. Also new to the series are Heart Tanks and Sub Tanks. Heart Tanks give you extra health and permanently extend your health bar for the rest of the game. I highly recommend you grab these because X's life bar is so small at the beginning of the game, you could die just by looking at the Maverick wrong. As for Sub Tanks are like energy tanks from the classic series, except they're permanent. Once you get full health and collect a health pellet, instead of it being for nothing, it goes to the Sub Tank. It can be used any time, but you just have to collect health again. Sure, it means doing a lot of grinding for energy, but for cases like the final boss, this is the way to go. Not to mention there are a lot of areas where you can easily grind for energy. Getting back to the story, once you defeat all 8 Mavericks, it's time to fight Sigma after Zero conveniently finds him on radar. Don't look at me like that! I was playing Tetris! The Sigma stages aren't anything too difficult. It's basically a marathon of challenges you had earlier in the game. It's not too bad though. The bosses, however, are a different story. After getting halfway through the stage of Sigma 1, we find Vile again, and Zero decides to fight him himself. The next room, however, shows Zero captured and Violet's in his mech. Great job, Zero! Shut up, he beat my Tetris score. So again, we lose and get captured. Seriously, game, these scripted events are getting annoying. Whoa. Zero just exploded. And with that, we beat Vile and Zero dies. If you want to know why I'm not upset over Zero's death, wait till the next review. But even then, this wasn't sad. It was shocking, but not sad. We barely knew Zero. Oh sure, playing the rest of the series and then replaying the scene makes it sad, but playing it for the first time, I barely knew Zero, so I didn't get sad over it. As for the rest of the bosses, Bow Spider is annoying as hell with its cheap speed and spawning of spiders. Yuck. Rangdabanga is a pain because you have 3 forms to worry about instead of 1, and they're not fun to deal with, by the way. D-Rex is a pain in the neck because of how fast it is, as well as its attack, and then we have the final boss, Sigma. Daw, what a cute little wall! Shit! 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 Jesus! Sigma's not too much of an issue if you hug the wall and use his weakness weapon against him. So much for Sigma being a force to be reckoned with. The final boss, however, involves Sigma and his friend doing the fusion dance and fighting you. He's pretty easy as long as you grab his hands, but watch out for his fire breath and electric attacks, cause they hurt like a bitch. Bring a sub-tank for this boss. And after that, the game ends. Megaman X as a whole is fantastic. The Mavericks are good, the weapons balanced, and it set the blueprints for the rest of the series to follow and expand upon. I can see why many fans consider this to be the best game in the X series. The game was wildly acclaimed by critics and became one of Capcom's best-selling games, spawning many ports, including this shitty iOS game, a remake on the PSP, and a collection on GameCube and PS2, which is what I'm reviewing this on. If you like classic Mega Man, you will love Mega Man X1. So with the success of the first game, what else would Capcom do but make a follow-up? So tune in next time for my review of X2. Thank you all for watching.